Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the American English Accent Club. I hope you're doing all right. This video is going to be about the difference between speech and language, okay? So, why does this matter? What does it mean? A lot of people think that speech and language are the same thing. They just think it's communication. They don't really realize there are differences. So I'm going to explain those differences to you because it's important. And also as I speak about things and you get to know me and I get to know you, we'll better understand each other if we're using some of the same terms. Okay, so let's first start with speech. Speech has to do with the sounds that are in the words. Okay, so when we're talking about pronunciation, we're talking about speech, all right? The sounds that are in the words. In the English learning world, area, when we talk about pronunciation, we're talking also about the pitch, the sing-song aspects of the language, the intonation patterns, and we'll talk more about that another time. But right now, I want to focus on the idea of speech being these components of the sound stuff, the sounds that you say, whether it's your voice, whether it's how you pronounce a certain sound that's in English, okay? So that's speech. Language has two parts. When we talk about language, we're talking about receptive language. So I think of the English word receive. Receptive means you're coming in, you're receiving it. Receptive language has to do with what you understand, okay? So if you're learning English, like I'm learning Italian, my receptive language in Italian is coming along. I can understand more of it than I can speak. So if someone speaks to me in Italian, if I receive some Italian, I can understand a lot of it, but not everything. My receptive language is I'm not quite fluent in that language yet. So the receptive language, when I'm speaking to you in English, I'm hoping that your language skills are high enough that you will understand what I'm talking about. So that's receptive, what you understand. The other end of language is the expressive language. You have your receptive language, what you understand, and your expressive language is how you express yourself. What words do you use to express your wants and your desires? How do you organize the words to tell somebody the message that you have in mind? So then you're looking at vocabulary, grammar, the order of the words. All of these things are part of the expressive language aspect of communication. Okay, so again, we have speech, meaning the sounds in the words, the sound of the language, the up and down. When we go up at the end for a question, when we may go down at the end for a statement. That pitch and intonation and the sounds that are in the words is the speech. The language end has to do with what you understand, your receptive language, and how you make your wants and needs known to other people, how you express yourself, the words that you use and the grammar that you use to tell other people your message, okay? So the reason that we want to understand the difference between these two is that when we're very young, actually as children, and we learn a language, we listen to see whether our production of the word is close to the target. So if I'm trying to say the word up and I say ep, I may listen to myself and realize, hey, wait a minute, it's the sounds I should be saying are up, but it came out as ep. That's not what I wanted to say. So the sounds were not accurate. And I'll listen to myself and I'll correct that. I'll change the way I'm saying the sound, okay? So we listen to ourselves when we are learning a language. When we're learning our very first language, this happens naturally. As we get older though, it's not a natural thing for us to listen to every sound that we're making and seeing if we're matching those sound targets. So what starts to happen is that as our speech sounds get developed, and we're learning more language, our focus, our brain starts to focus on the language part. What am I understanding? And how do I want to make my message known to other people? How do I make that message clear to them? What words do I need to say? What grammar do I need to use? How do I organize those words? So because we're not paying attention to the way it sounds anymore, we sometimes miss a lot of the errors that we might make. The fact that we're not really listening to the sounds anymore. We're just thinking about the language end of it. So when we want to try to work on pronunciation, we need to make a new motor pattern. We need to make a new habit. So for example, if I have been saying a w sound, well, some more common in some languages to make a v sound, I screwed it up. Make a w sound for a v sound, that's it. In German, this happens. If you speak German, oftentimes people will substitute a w sound for the v. So they might say, I invited you, instead of I invited you. Well, that motor pattern is developed. So when they say the word invite, they're not thinking about the fact that they missed the v sound. The motor pattern is already established. So if we want to get good at saying a v sound, we have to practice that. We have to say it over and over. Invite, invite. We have to think of our teeth touching our top lip, making that little vibration when the air comes through, keeping our voice going. Invite, invite. And the reason we need to practice it and make that repetition something that we're good at doing, like got to practice, is because we need to establish a new pattern. We need to make the new movement be a habit. So that this way, when we want to say it in a word, in a sentence, in a phrase, we don't have to think about it. If we have to think about this part, we can't think about the parts of the language that we want to say. So it's important to make these motor patterns that we talk about in terms of pronunciation for your American English accent. You're going to need to practice this. So there's no easy way around it. If you haven't learned the language before you were about, when you were a child, if you were about 11 years old, there's a good chance that you'll have an accent. Actually, almost 100% chance that there will be some sort of accent. So to make the motor patterns for American English part of your whole ability to move that whole system, your whole mouth system, you need to practice it, and you need to make those movements become habit. So you don't have to think about them too much. Maybe you have to be aware of them a little bit, but you won't have to think about them if you make it become a habit. Because when you're thinking of the message that you want to send, the words, the language that you want to use, you can't think about the speech sounds that you're trying to say in those words. Okay, so that's the difference between speech, sounds in the words, language, what you understand receptively, and how you make your wants and needs known to other people expressively. Get your speech sounds set. Get that motor pattern established so your body knows where to go, your mouth knows where to go, your tongue, your lips, your voicing, all that. They know what to do, so you don't have to think too much about it, because then if you want to move it into your running speech, your language, you have to make it be a habit. Okay? All right, I hope that's clear. I will talk to you another time. I have so many videos to make. I have so much information to share with you. It's just driving me nuts. I hope I didn't talk too fast. I'll talk to you soon. Bye, everybody. Hey, don't forget, share. Please share the information so others can learn as well. Okay? I'll talk to you soon. Have a great day. Have a great night. Looking forward to interacting, commenting, ask me questions, and I'll answer as much as I can. Okay? All right. Bye for now.